What's up, guys? Welcome to the Lillia Matchup tier list. Okay, I've been wanting to do some more Lillia content, and I think understanding which champions are good to pick into and which ones are bad is pretty important. So let's get to it. First champion, Gragas. Gragas is a bit of an interesting matchup. I don't think you see Gragas a lot, but he does have his annoying E, which knocks you up. So he can kind of kite you and get away from you and maybe even stun you for a while. But Gragas doesn't farm very fast. So if you play slow and controlled, you can usually outpace him. And then if you have enough movement speed, you can just dodge the E. So I do think that Gragas is an easy matchup. Next matchup, Graves. In my opinion, Graves is a dodge. But I think in low, you can still play against him. So maybe you put him in hard. But in high-low, I always hate playing against Graves, because most of the time he's just so broken. He can invade you early game and he can outfarm you a lot of the times. So you can't really outpace him and you can't like contest him on camps. He can kind of fight you everywhere. So I would put him in dodge. But since his items aren't very good this season and in low, you can beat a lot of Graves players because they're not very good, I'd put him in hard. I think he scales a lot with LP, so that the higher the player is playing Graves, the better he is. Hecm, also a hard matchup. I think the hardest matchups for Lillia are these ones where these champions farm just as fast as you or faster, and they can fight you, right? So if you meet the Hecm, if you guys both full clear and you meet him on the crab, you're going to lose the fight most likely. So I think Hecm is pretty hard, but there are ways to pass where you can ruin a Hecm. You can beat Hecm if you play smart, but it's still very hard. Ekko is a medium champion because he can also farm relatively at the same speed as you, but he can't fight you, right? He can't really one-shot you, and you can contest him on camps. So Ekko he's a medium. The only problem with Ekko is when he gets a lot of kills, and that champion is very good at last hitting kills. So Ekko is just like, if your team dies to his ganks, then it's going to be a tough game. If they don't die, it's going to be a free game. So I think it's like a medium. It's a 50-50. Ivern is an easy matchup. I think Ivern also gets harder the higher LP the Ivern is, right? Because good Iverns will try to CC lock you and they will fight you with their Daisy. But I think bad Iverns, so anyone, like any Ivern below Diamond, is not going to be cycling his camps well enough, and you can actually take a lot of his camps. So I think Ivern is usually pretty easy to play against. The only thing you have to watch out for is just, it's very annoying to play against early game when you don't have enough movement speed to dodge his Q reliably, because every time you get hit by that Q, you're going to get CC locked. So when you're playing against Ivern, try to avoid him early game, unless you're counter gaking, and just try to counter invade, you know, counter jungle. Elise is a easy matchup. I think that in order to beat Elise, all you have to do is to avoid her cheese gank or her cheese invade, right? Well, she's either gonna cheese gank or she's gonna cheese invade. So the most likely spot for you to get invaded against Elise is on your red buff if you path from blue to red. So usually when I play against Elise, I would start on my red side, do my red side camps, and then I would walk to my blue side jungle, and you ward the banana bush, which is the bush that's like in the river, between the river and your blue buff. If you ward that bush, you should be able to see all of her invades. So you just do that before you start doing your camps. Or you can just do your wolves after you do your red side camps, and then you ward into the bush by blue buff if you want to like be more efficient. So yeah, if you avoid her early plays, I think you out farm her so fast that she can't really do anything. Evelynn, I think Evelynn is a hard matchup again. Evelynn is not the same as Graves and Hecm because she can't really kill you on your camps early, but most people on your team will die to Evelynn. The Evelynn will get fed, like it's almost guaranteed. And a fed Evelynn is so annoying to play against, and I think in low elo, people will just die to Evelynn on repeat, so she's gonna farm just as fast as you, and she's also gonna get like random kills. So I think Evelynn is pretty hard to play against. Although I will say, like in Challenger, I think she goes down a little bit, but still a very broken champion. This is more like a general tier list, you know, like just for Lillia in general. I'm not gonna base it off just my opinions and my elo. I'm gonna try to, you know, give a general opinion. Amumu, it's pretty easy. Pretty easy. Honestly, I would put Amumu in free. The only threat that Amumu has is early game if he hits both bandages on you and eats you, or if he cheese ganks. So against champions that cheese gank, by the way, guys, really easy tip, and the reason these matchups are usually pretty easy is you just look at your lanes and the enemy lanes, and you ask yourself, who are they most likely to level 3 gank? And then after you have done your 3 camps, you know that the enemy jungler has done 3 camps, which means that they're level 3 and they want to cheese gank. So that's when you ping your lane, you ping on top of them to be careful. If you can get a ward on their raptors right before minion spawn, so at like 105, 110, if you can ward their raptors, then you will know exactly where they're going. Because if you do your 3 camps and you see them on the ward, that means that they did their 3 camps by raptors, right? They did the red side camps. If you do your 3 camps and you don't see them on the ward, you know that they're on the blue side, right? So you know exactly which side of the map they'll be, and you ping the lanes that are vulnerable. Sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent, but I think that advice is very, very good if you are getting into jungling, trying to be smarter about it. Next champion, Gwen. This matchup is easy. It's easy. I think Gwen is pretty easy. She farms at relatively the same speed as you, but the problem is, when is Gwen ever going to be able to fight you? Gwen only has her slow on her ult, right? So if she has her ult, you'll probably have your ult. You can always kite her away, and you always have so much move speed that usually the ult hitting you doesn't even matter, or you can just dodge her ult in general. So she can't really fight you. You can run circles around her. You can wait out her like mist, or if you're really desperate, you can just ult and you should be able to get out. I think that Gwen is not really a threat for Lillia, but she does scale well and she does farm fast, so she's still a champion. I just don't think she's gonna be, you know, a champion that affects you personally. Jarvan, I think that Jarvan is a hard matchup for most people. For me, it's a little 50-50, but I think it's one of the better matchups into Lillia, because if he manages to burn your flash early and then he ults you, you will die. Like that's just how it is. But if you can outpace him, you get so strong that you can evade him. So I mean, a lot of times either the Jarvan invades and kills me over and over, or I invade him and kill him over and over. That's how the matchup goes for me. But I do think that most of the time in lower elo, Jarvan is such an easy champion. He is a little bit scary, so I'll put him in hard. So like, the champion he has a lot of low cooldowns and a lot of CC, so it's annoying to play because he can gap close you. So I think that I would maybe consider being a little careful into Jarvan. I definitely wouldn't pick Lillia into Jarvan, but I'm not like too upset if people pick Jarvan into my Lillia. Karthus is hard as well. I think that Karthus matchup is hard if you just let him farm, because he's gonna farm faster than you. Like by far, Karthus farms faster than you, because ever since they nerfed jungle, I think Lillia's clear speed became slower, and I think Karthus stayed the same. So Karthus is one of those junglers that just farms way faster than you. But this matchup can be easy if you find the timers to invade and you have a strong side lane or like a mid lane that can invade with you. You can beat this champion early game. But it also depends on what summoner spells. Some Karthus go exhaust and I'd be a little scared of that. But you should try to invade Karthus because if you just let him farm, he will win the game. So I usually try to cheese the Karthus a lot. Where I try to snowball the game with one of my volatile lanes. So Karthus, he's pretty hard if he farms for free. And I think that if you're lower elo, it'll be a little bit harder for you to punish a Karthus. Kane? Dude, I think Kane is a dodge. I think people will have different opinions on this. Whenever I play against Kane, this is the most annoying character in the game, especially if he goes blue. Even if he goes red, like it's so annoying to play against his champion. And he can kind of dodge your ult. So it's very frustrating to play because he can just ult inside you. He can go into walls. He slows, he knocks up, he does everything, and he farms just as fast as you. I hate Kane. I think he's too broken. But not a lot of people play him, so you won't see him that much. But hot take, I think Kane is a very annoying matchup for Lillia. Also, if you try to fight him early game, he can always dodge your Q and kind of Q into you. And his Q will do more damage than your Q early game, so you can't actually beat him. You have to like out-kite him very well and have a stronger 2v2 with like your mid or top. Or a 3v3 with your Khazix. I would also dodge. Listen, if you guys are low elo, I would 100% dodge. I think Khazix is so unplayable because if he ever walks into your jungle, if he ever decides to look at you, you will die. I think this champion is way too broken. Okay, Khazix is not broken actually, he sucks. But into Lillia, if he gets serrated Dirk, he'll just one pop you in your jungle. Like if a Kha'Zix just full clears and then recalls for a Dirk, you can't do anything into him. You have to try to like rely on your team to carry you. Like honestly, I think this champion is very hard for Lillia to play into. But if you get to late game, he still might one-shot you, but you'll still, I mean, I think you can do more in a team fight. It's just like individually, early game and mid game, when he finds you alone, you just die. Kindred. I think Kindred is hard. Kindred is like medium. Voila! Lee Sin. That's the next champion. Medium. Lee Sin is a medium because he doesn't farm very fast compared to you. But he can make a lot of things happen early game. And if his ganks work, then Lee Sin will just one-shot you and he will win the game. But the good thing about Lee Sin is that the lower elo you're playing in, which honestly anything below like Grandmaster or Master, I think that Lee Sin, dude, even in Grandmaster, bro, Lee Sin is a champion that likes to throw games. So even if he does early stuff, you can still win the game. I just think he's a little bit tough to play against if he's really fed. But Lee Sin is another champion that is much better in high elo than he is in low elo. Or medium elo or anything below the top tier. I think that Lee Sin is a very volatile champion, right? So you can go behind a lot, but you still will be able to claw your way back into the game. So just gotta focus on full clearing, trying to ping his ganks, and have a good mental, and you can win. Lillia is a free matchup, okay? The better Lillia will win. Okay? So if you're better, which you should be, if you watch my videos, you should be better than the other Lillia, you should win. Diana. Diana is a hard matchup. I think this champion in general is much easier to play than Lillia. She farms just as fast as you, and if she's fed enough where she kills you with her full combo, you cannot escape her full combo. You have to waste your flash, and wasting your flash as Lillia stinks, okay? So every time you waste your flash to run away, you're sad. Even if you ult Diana, she can get her full combo off, which means that it's a damage check. If she does enough damage to kill you, she will kill you. If she hits one Q on you, you cannot get away. Like, even if you're super fast, Diana has another E to chase you. It's really annoying. I think that Diana is very hard. You can't fight her early. You can only fight if you're extremely fed, I think. Or if you're ahead, you know? So, this matchup is pretty tough. Mashi. Dude, Mashi. He's a dodge. Listen, for most of you guys, even for me, dude, when I see Mashi, I don't want to play. Okay? Because if the Mashi has a few brain cells, did you guys know that Alpha Strike, Mashi's Q, can actually dodge your ult? And he's faster than you. And he can W your best spell, which is your W. So even if you manage to, like, get to him, he will just W and reduce all damage. I think that Mashi is very hard to play into as Lillia. Also, he farms relatively as fast as you do, so I would dodge. I don't like playing against Mashi. I don't think it's worth playing against him, and I think he has way too many tools to outplay you. Next, Morgana. I don't know why Morgana is here, but she's free. Okay, she's not a jungler anymore. Nidalee. Easy. If Nidalee doesn't hit her spear, she can't do as much damage. It's hard to hit spears on champions like... It's hard to hit spears on champions like Lillia because Lillia is very fast. Voila! Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks is a medium. Every time I play against Fiddlesticks, he will either be invading me and killing me, or I'll be invading him and killing him. I think the number one thing to know about Fiddlesticks is, well, the number one thing is to, if you're doing an objective, you better have a ward over the wall. Otherwise, you need to play away from the wall. Most people in low elo will walk straight into the wall and die. Because Fiddle, he is going to be standing on the other side of some wall. Okay? So as long as you know that and you play around it, he can't get you. But most people, they will forget every now and then that Fiddlesticks is standing behind the wall. But I'm telling you, he is standing behind that wall. If you have a sneaking suspicion that he might be behind a wall, he's probably behind that wall. So you should play around it. The other thing to know, and a great way to think about how you're going to fight Fiddlesticks early game, is if Fiddlesticks is in like a camp like Raptors, or if he's by Void Grubs, you cannot fight him because he will heal to full almost instantly. Like, genuinely, almost instantly. Any damage you do will be undone. So you have to make sure you're trying to fight him when he doesn't have a lot of things to heal off. Nocturne. I think Nocturne is a... I think he's a medium matchup. Just like Lee Sin, he does the same thing. Where he full clears. But the difference between Nocturne and Lee Sin is that Nocturne clears just as fast as you. And when he hits his ult, so in the mid game, that's when he starts trying to snowball the game. If you can avoid it, you can make sure your team is safe, or you can counter gank it, you'll be fine. Because in the late game, you do outscale him. And usually, Nocturne can't fight you. Like, I don't think you actually... I also don't think you lose fights against Nocturne unless you get feared for free. If you guys want to know a really good tip, when Nocturne is about to fear you, right before it fears, you should press your W in some direction or on top of yourself, because it'll buffer the fear. So you want to make sure that you're doing something while being feared. You don't want to just be feared for free. But yeah, Nocturne, it can be a tough matchup if it gets fed, but if the game is even, I think you outscale and you will beat Nocturne. Nunu is an easy matchup. He's kind of the same as Lee Sin, but I think Nunu is a worse champion than Lee Sin. He's going to cheese gank, ward for your laners, or ward the enemy Raptors and try to figure out where he is, and then ping your team. If Nunu doesn't get ahead early, he's pretty useless, and he gets like shredded by Landry's. So, pretty free matchup. Olaf. Olaf is actually getting buffed this patch, so he might be hard to play against. I think he's like a medium. The thing about Olaf, nah, he's still easy. Even though Olaf's ult counters you, he will never be as fast as you unless he hits every Q on you, which if you're getting hit by Olaf Qs consistently as Lillia with full stacks up of your movement speed, that's on you, you know what I mean? You just have to make sure that you're not ulting Olaf when he has his ult up. You just gotta kite him. If you can kite Olaf during his ult and not let him auto-attack you, because every time he auto-attacks you, the duration of his ult increases. So just kite him out. Poppy, very easy, okay? He can cheese gank, just like I said earlier about cheese ganking junglers. Just prevent the cheese ganks. And against Poppy, it's a tank. You will outscale and you'll shred him. Kiana is a free matchup. I mean, Kiana sucks at jungle. She clears extremely slow and unhealthily, which means that you should try to get a ward in her jungle. You should 3-camp and invade Kiana. It's one of the rare champions where you can actually invade Kiana and you can kill her, because she'll be like 200 health on her camps. Rammus, easy matchup. Simply because you will farm faster than him. He has to cheese gank. Once again, another cheese ganking juggler. If you farm, you get your 2 items, you will shred Rammus as well. Most tank matchups are like this. They're very free as long as you're playing slow and controlled game. Don't go for a lot of ganks. The only ganks you should be going for against tanks that cheese gank are counter ganks. If you counter gank a tank, you will most likely kill him. Rexite, it's like a medium. I think that if you're not paying attention, Rexite could take you. He could outplay you. Like, not outplay you, but he could stat check you if he gets fed enough. I don't know. I would put him in easy or even free because I don't think the champion's very good, especially right now. But I think that he is stronger in lower ranks. It's a very good champion at punishing you if you misstep. So simply because like you just don't win 1v1 against him and he knocks you up and gets his combo off for free every time. So unless you are at 2 items, it's very hard for you to fight him. And you have to kite him pretty well, because a lot of times Rexite can still knock you up even with your move speed stacks. But if you kite him well enough, you can outplay him. Rengar, I think Rengar is a hard matchup. I don't think it's quite at dodge level, but it's a very hard matchup. I'd be very scared of playing against Rengar, because Rengar does a lot of damage. He's very good in bushes, and he cleanses your ult for free, pretty much. And he can snare you if he catches you. So the only thing you can really do into Rengar is try to avoid him early game. Make sure you ping your bot lane, because most Rengars do this. I'm telling you guys, this is the #1 advice against Rengar. He is going to cheese gank bot lane through the lane, right? He's gonna gank through the lane bushes, bot lane, after his full clear. If you ping your bot lane, most of the time they won't die to it. But that's what they all do. They all do it, I promise you. Especially on red side, they always do it. So if you can avoid Rengar early game, you can build plated steel caps. Plated steel caps is really good into Rengar and most auto-attacking champions, because Rengar's damage, for example, it comes from his Q. Most of his damage comes from his Q, which is an auto-attack. And plated steel caps reduce all auto-attack damage. So if you go plated steel caps and you get us some health, you can beat Rengar. Sejuani, it's a pretty free matchup. Sejuani is like, well, I mean, it's like there with Rammus. It's an easy matchup. Sejuani's a tank. She's gonna gank early game. You can outfarm her, and you're gonna shred her when you have 2 items. Not much to say about that. She just has a lot of CC, which is why she's an easy, not free. But you can, like, it's hard for her to hit her CC on you, so. Shaco? He's a medium. I think he's the same as Lee Sin. He's gonna impact the game early. If he does, it's gonna be a hard game for you. If he doesn't, it's gonna be a free game for you. Also, if you have sweeper against Shaco boxes, especially against AP Shacos, you can sweep and then you can queue the boxes and they won't activate. And you get movement speed off it. So if you're fighting around an objective and you have full stacks, maybe, like for example, you push the mid wave, you have full movement speed stacks, but when you walk into river to fight a dragon, you're gonna lose the stacks eventually unless you hit something. So if you have sweeper against Shaco, you can just get your stacks back. It's really nice. Shyvana is a free matchup. Shyvana sucks. Skarner is a free matchup. The new rework on Skarner still sucks. Okay, you're gonna beat him. Both of these champions are just not very good. Talia is a hard matchup. I think Talia farms just as fast as you, and she can kind of zone you. So it's very annoying to play against. She can peel her team and she can slow you. I hate this champion. Playing against this champion is very hard. Talon. Bro, in my opinion, Talon is a dodge. I hate Talon. He's so strong. Talon farms. Literally, he farms like twice as fast as you. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Talon farms as fast as Karthus. Like, that's my opinion. Like, every time I play against Talon, they have so much CS and they can gank so fast, and then they just one-shot you. And there's not a lot of counterplay. Even if you ult, Talon will get all of his damage off, and so if he does enough damage to kill you, you're gonna die, even if you ult. You need to buy Zanyas and you need to pray. Chondo, I mean, he's an easy matchup. Does the same thing as all these champs. Udyr, also an easy matchup. Depends on what he builds. If he builds full AD, sometimes it's hard to play against because he'll just invade you and one-shot you with this tiger thing. But most Udyrs go tank or AP. It's a pretty easy matchup. Vigo, I'm tempted to put Vigo in dodge, but I think it's a very hard matchup. Vigo, the reason Vigo is very hard is the same reason as Mashi is hard. I'm actually gonna put it in dodge. Like, even though I think this is one of the more playable dodge matchups, and I've done this matchup a lot, it is very hard to play into Vigo because he can stick on you pretty well, and then if you ult him to try to get away, he'll just ult your ult. And if he ults when you ult him, he will dodge the sleep. He won't get slept. So this champion is another champion that can just avoid your ultimate, which is very annoying. And is also a teleport at the same time that hits you and slows you. So if he's chasing you, a lot of times you'll just die. Vi is a easy matchup. If she doesn't one-shot you in her ult, or right after her ult, which most of the times you won't because Vi doesn't do that much damage, you'll be able to run away and kite her. Volbear, it's a medium matchup just because he's very strong right now. But like these other champs, he's very easy to play against. I think that the only times Volbear is hard is when he gets fed off camps, or no, off ganks, right? And Volbear, when he's fed, is actually a champion that just does so much damage and heals. So unlike these other tanks, when Volbear's ganks are successful, I think the game is pretty hard. But if the game is even, you will just do the same thing to Volbear. You'll kite him. It's very easy to kite Volbear. Warwick is unironically like a medium matchup. He's not a very good champion, but he can buffer your sleep. So he can stick on you pretty easily. I think this matchup is kind of hard in low elo probably. So I'd be wary of Warwick. But I don't think he's necessarily gonna ruin the game for you. Xin Zhao is a hard matchup. I think that Xin Zhao can stick onto you. He can impact the game early, and he can heal his team from you pretty well in the late game and the mid game. And every time he knocks you up, you're getting threatened to die. So I think that Xin Zhao is pretty hard to play against. Zac is pretty easy matchup. I think Zac's pretty easy. I'd put Zac in free because I mean he's a pretty decent champ. Actually, he's easy. The reason Zac is easy is because he's another tank, and You do percent max health damage, and Zac has a lot of health. So when you have Landry's, you just kind of one-shot this chap. You can also just build an Oblivion Orb, and he's kind of useless. Zed is... I mean, Zed would be a medium matchup. He's not very good in the jungle right now, but he can also dodge your sleep. It's very annoying to play against, but I don't think he's very strong. I mean, I'm not even gonna put Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser's not a jungler. Well, I mean, he's just free. Warwick, medium. Bel'Veth is a dodge. In my opinion, Bel'Veth's a dodge. If Bel'Veth hits you with her W, which is very hard to miss and on Bel'Veth, because she could just Q onto you, auto attack you to death, and then if you try to get away, she'll just W you. And then she'll Q again. I think Bel'Veth can walk into your jungle whenever she wants and kill you. It's very hard to play against. There's not a lot of skill expression. There's not a lot you can do. If you W, she can like dodge your W. She can dodge your E. She can dodge your Q. Like, it is so hard for Bel'Veth to lose the 1v1. I think that this champion is incredibly hard to play against. Medium, I mean, you can kite Jax. Actually, it's pretty easy. You can kite him. If he gets very fat, it's hard to play against him, but you can still kite him, you know? Taric would be free. I don't know why Taric's there. Udyr is here again? Oh, it's a different Udyr. Okay. Put Udyr back there. Pantheon. Medium. I mean, he's gonna kill you early game, but he's not a very strong jungler. He's not very fast. He's not gonna scale. Like, and by fast, I mean he's not a fast clear, so he doesn't do his camps very fast. Maokai is free. Maokai, he's gonna build health. You're gonna shred him. He doesn't do a lot into you. You can also do the same thing. If you're getting hit by Maokai ult, you can W away and buffer it so that most of the time you're rooted, you're actually in your W animation. Sylas would probably be easy. I think Sylas is a strong champion, but in the jungle, pretty easy to play against. Rumble is a medium champion. Rumble can one-shot you early game. It's very hard to not get one-shot by Rumble. Rumble does a lot of damage. He's very broken right now, overall, especially top lane. But in the jungle, I still think he's strong. So you just have to be careful of his one-shot potential. But if you kite him, you can beat him. Mundo, it's probably free. I don't know, Neeko is like a medium champion. Like, you don't see that often, but Neeko is annoying. She has CC. Rel is easy. Same thing as all the other tank ganking junglers. You just have to be ready for the level 3 ganks. I'm not even going to put in a Fury. Brand is a hard matchup. Brand can go Rylai's, slow you, and pretty much control the area so you can't walk in. I think Brand is pretty good into Lillia. Zyra is the same thing. She does the same thing as Brand. There's a different Jax. Let me replace the Jax. Okay, there we go. And then the last champion, Briar. Briar is a easy matchup because if she's locked onto you, you can hit your W for free. And then you can sleep her, and then you can hit your Q and your E for free. It's a very easy champion to kill. You just have to be careful not to get one shot. Like, you know, Briar is a very one-dimensional champion. Anyway, there you go. This is the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. And if you liked this tier list, or if you disagree, or if you agree, drop a comment in the description below and tell me what you thought I could have done better or worse. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching.